Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. That is exactly the same words that I said after I was at the view party at Avaya Stadium. And I said it in a very loud voice that I actually lost my voice for the first 5 seconds. I mean, that game and that finish was probably the happiest and probably the most crazy celebratory kind of thing I have done since last year when the Quakes beat Minnesota 3-2 with a last minute goal to send us to the playoffs. I mean, who would have thought that England would be going to the quarterfinal and they would do it the most alternately the most hardest and probably the most biggest curse way that it would be possible, which is by penalties. I mean, this is certainly a big surprise in terms of how they done it, but in many ways, it's kind of what this World Cup is all about. This World Cup has bring some of the most craziest things and some of the most unimaginable thing that you would. It is something that you would probably only do in a video game. And I don't even think a video game can replicate what has happened in this World Cup. You know, we had Germany getting knocked out in the group stage. We have two of the best player in the world right now, Ronaldo and Messi, out of the tournament in the round of 16. We have Spain getting knocked out by the host, Russia, and Russia getting into the quarterfinal despite the fact that they're coming into this tournament as the lowest ranked team in this tournament. And now, in this game where I thought for sure we were done, after when Mina scored that goal, it felt like we just lost this game. Because I knew after we conceded that goal and that after what I saw from the first half of extra time, I just thought that this England team is going to lose. Because this team just ran out of steam. They ran out of ideas. They looked completely deflated. And despite the fact that in the second half of extra time, they kind of finally showed up. Eric Dyer missed a crucial kind of header right near the end of the game. And I think after that miss, and as we get into penalty, I knew that we were going to lose this one because we're going to penalties. It's the ultimate curse of England. It's the thing that England will always lose to. And I even said that we're going to lose that one. I mean, in some way, I kind of want to work my reverse jinxing magic again in this game, but I kind of knew that it was going to happen. Like, all the momentum was going for Colombia, and with Ospina in goal, and how you know Ospina is a very good kind of penalty kick stopper, this was not looking good for us. And when Jordan Henderson missed that penalty, I knew that it was it. Like, there is no way that Colombia is going to miss another penalty, and that there is just no way we're going to somehow find a way to get this done. But somehow, in some way, the football gods kind of think that we took enough punishment in terms of the amount of penalties we have lost in the knockout stage of the World Cup, and they gifted us a penalty miss by Colombia where I forgot who exactly it was, but he basically just smashed it and hit the bar and it bounced out. And then when we get to the sudden death round, Jordan Pickford, what a save that is. I mean, an absolute amazing save. I think that save was probably even better than the save that Akinfeev did with Russia versus Spain, because that one was kind of like aiming high, and somehow Pickford at the last minute raised his arm and saved that penalty. And it all sets up the all-important penalty by Eric Dyer. And when I saw that, I still think that we were not going to win this, because I know Eric Dyer is going to miss this. He is an absolute scrub for this team. He just missed a big kind of goal scoring opportunity right at the end of the game, and he is a guy that always tends to cost England chances of winning. And yet, he puts away the penalty, and certainly you could say that it was a bit lucky too, because Ospina did get a hand to it, and that, you know, if Ospina want to redo that again, then he probably would have saved that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. England has won a penalty kick shootout. And I don't care what happened to England throughout the next couple of games, and that I don't care how far they will go through in this World Cup. I'm happy for England. For once, as an England fan, I actually am happy that we moved on, and for once, I can actually celebrate without having to worry about, am I actually dreaming or something. The heartbreak that England has been suffering for so long in these last couple of tournaments, and just the way that in this game it looked like it was classic England again, with giving up that late goal and heading into penalties, and with the circumstances it was in this game, it looked like it was for sure there was going to be another heartbreak. But just like how this tournament has gone, and just as there's just something about this tournament that is just so crazy, and that it's unlike any other World Cup tournament that you will ever see. And I'm pretty sure if you even look at all the other tournaments so far, this one might be one of the most, if not the craziest one ever. That there is always going to be something against the plot. There is going to be something that, you would think that this team is kind of having like a curse. Well, guess what? Coming into this tournament where everything is completely the opposite of what past history has gone, this is exactly what happened. But now going forward, obviously, I am going to be certainly celebrating this win and certainly will take it in. But we got to definitely do better next time in the next game against Sweden. And I am not taking any confidence or any optimism coming into that Sweden game, because I have seen the highlights of this Sweden versus Switzerland game, and I have seen all of the Sweden game in the past, and let's just say that they are a very, very good team. They are a team that is kind of like Iceland from the Euros, and we remember what happened with England against Iceland in the Euros last year. It can happen again in the quarterfinal. And, if England cannot break down teams in the final third in a defensive shape, like what Colombia has been doing throughout this game, then we could be in for a very frustrated 90 minutes against Sweden. So, hopefully Southgate can potentially figure that out, and hopefully Southgate does not park the bus in the last 15 minutes. Like, what are you even doing? Why in the world do you decide to shut down shop and park the bus when you're only up 1-0? Okay, yes, we're up 1-0 and that things were looking comfortable, but the fact that they let Colombia back into the game in the last 15 minutes, they allowed them to come back into the game and gain some confidence. That is something that I hope Southgate will learn from this, and that he does not make that same mistake. Do not goddamn park the bus and shut down shop thinking that things are done when it's only in the 75th minute. Do it maybe in like the 90th minute or something like that, but don't do it right then. It's way too early to do that. We should be pushing for that second goal. And heck, throughout this game, we probably should have got more than one goal. Like, we had some very, very good chance in this game, but it's all been let down because of that final ball. But talking about the Sweden versus Switzerland game, well, I didn't watch this one because I didn't wake up early to watch this one. I only watched the highlight just recently, and I heard that it was a bit of a boring game. And let's just say that, I did kind of like I said, I watched the highlights, and I thought Sweden definitely done much better than what Switzerland did in this game. They definitely had more of the opportunity, but Sweden was not clinical whatsoever. But eventually, they finally get that crucial goal, and in some way, it was a bit of a lucky goal, because when Emil Forsberg hit that goal actually was going to be saved by Sommer, and if it wasn't for one of the Swiss defender basically blocked that shot, and then it just ricocheted off of his heel and bounced into the back of the net, it would have been a 0-0. It would have been still 0-0 after that point. And sometimes in the World Cup you need to ride your luck, and certainly in this World Cup and how things have been going, any luck that you need is definitely going to be helpful, and certainly, Sweden got that luck, and you could say that they do deserve to win because, like I said, they had more of the opportunity, and even though overall it was kind of a very boring game, Sweden able to break through, and Switzerland, of course, did get a man sent off in the 93rd minute, and this is where I am actually a little bit furious about this red card. And it's not because that was definitely not a red card, but it was a red card. It was 100% a red card because it was a denial of goal score opportunity. But what I was so fuming and upset about there is that if you remember the game, I think it was yesterday, in that Denmark versus Croatia game, and right into extra time, there was a break there for Croatia where they were 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and then I think it was Modric that got brought down by one of the Danish player, and it was a penalty, but it was a yellow card. Now, in this kind of situation, it looked like the exact same play where Lang basically brought down the last man, and it was a denial of goal score opportunity, and he got the red card. But yet, in that game against Denmark and Croatia, when that Danish player brought down Modric, and Modric was the last man on the attack, and he got a yellow card for it, I mean, that is what I have problems sometimes with some of the refereeing decision, and why there is always going to be surround controversy in terms of the VAR system, because it's not being very consistent. I mean, if this is a red card and this is a denial of goal score opportunity, then why in the world is the Denmark versus Croatia one, when Modric went down with a denial of goal score opportunity, why wasn't that a red card? I mean, that is something that certainly drive a lot of people crazy, and it's no wonder why there's a lot of people who don't want VAR, because the whole point of VAR is trying to get the call correctly, but if they don't even get it correctly when they look at it, that is what the overall problem with this. And even in this game between England and Colombia, there was a couple of controversial call. I know a lot of Colombia fans are upset that the referee was mostly against them in terms of some of the call, but in many ways they should have been sent off right around the 39th minute when one of the Colombia player basically just headbutted, I think it was, who was that got headbutted? I think it was Henderson that got headbutted, and yet that's not a red card. I mean, how in the world that is not a red card? Like, okay, yes, it wasn't a traditional headbutt because he kind of going down from the jaw and then just kind of lift his head and headbutted him, but yet that's still a red card. It doesn't really matter, and they even look at VAR for that incident, and yet they still said it was a yellow card. So that is exactly why a lot of football fans, whenever there's a game happening, they have this kind of VAR situation. It's no wonder why people are so upset about VAR. I mean, when it gets right, then everybody is happy, but when it gets wrong, that is when the controversy begins, and that's when everybody wants VAR out. But either way, guys, that is pretty much it for this video. I won't be doing a preview video about the quarterfinal until Thursday because there's going to be 2 days off, which means that this is a good opportunity for me these next 2 days to do some talks about the MLS because I have just barely had any time to do that. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.